when we look at the world of physiotherapy, we've already alluded to, we've probably made it pretty clear now, it can be a bit messy in terms of information out there, and there's, you could say good and bad guys out there. But what would you say is the biggest problem in the world of physiotherapy, and what do you think is the best way to tackle it?
Where to start?
We've got all night. We don't, but
honestly, it's not a big one, but I think it is a big one. It's more general, but I think there's a lot of overtreatment. So one of the reasons I left my clinic is because the way the clinic worked is the more I see patients, the more I get paid. Not like the more patients I see, the more I see one patient. And I was like, you understand that this encourages like poor care, right?
Yes.
If I could solve a patient's problem or like help a patient through a problem with 3 visits instead of like 3 times a week, who would you say is the best physio? And it's like obviously the one who takes fewer visits, right? But that's not how the compensation system works. So I think that's one of the biggest problems. So that's, for me, I switched, like the more I practice, the less I see my patients, because I think I'm more familiar with the natural history of things. But I think you could see the problem in 2 ways. You could see it as physios not knowing the natural history and prognosis of conditions and thinking that like everything that happens is because of them. The other would be that, they're not self-critical enough. Like, I don't know. I don't think the system, and again, that's the norm. Like I made some calculations based on I think in the USA they did a poll and like the median number of visits per week was like twice a week. And like a lot of people see them 3 times a week. I haven't seen a patient twice in a week in like a few years. And I usually see patients like on a 2-week basis or maybe like a monthly basis. And I try to space it out if it's a chronic problem.
Do you reckon some of these practitioners are taking advantage of the naivety of some of their patients, because the patient is probably potentially they're seeing an authority on an issue, they're going to assume whatever they say is gospel, and some of these practitioners might think, well, if they see me twice this week, I get paid double. If they see me 3 times, I get paid triple, and they just get blinded by the dollar signs, and maybe that's the reason. Like you look at chiropractors, for example. See me next week because we need to maintain what we've just done today. And then they go down
that
this whole
horrid analogy. Yeah, you're a car that needs fixing. Yeah, you're
they're there for like a back MOT every few weeks to get the back cracked, and it's like they must know deep down that if they're having to see them every few weeks, that they're not really dealing with the problem. They can't be that stupid,
I'll be honest. I don't think a lot of physios know. I think there are some that are willfully doing it. I think some clinic owners definitely know but don't care because it's just more profitable not to do the right thing. But I think a lot of physios are just nice people who don't like to question things. So I honestly think the majority of them just don't know. And when you question it, it's like, oh, it's just the way it is. It's like, okay, most people don't like to question things. So I think that's
what confrontation do they? Yeah.
Like if you work in I think if you switch the compensation pattern to something like more like hospitals where you can make it competitive and get more a better salary for doing your job better, you probably see that people will treat their patients less. Right.
Yeah.
It's just not the way it's structured. So again, I think most people don't like to question, and if you have a structure that pays you not to question, you're probably not going to question, right? Because it's unpleasant. So why would you do something unpleasant for less money?
It's a systemic issue, then, isn't it? There needs to be big change for that to change. Yeah.
Top-down approach.
Yeah. I don't know how you'd really do all that. You'd probably have to go to the top, attack the top. Maybe we just kick off. Maybe the meme page will get so big they'll have to listen. They'll have to make a change. They'll be like, there's too many memes on us. We need to stop.
The new core structure of education will actually have a whole section on just memes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, just on memes.
But then you'll get the quacks will get good at it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that is very true. Oh, God help us. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't give guns
That's
to everyone.
all we need.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
Meme university.
Yeah. Oh yeah, meme university. Yeah. Brand new. Oh God, yeah. I think we've got enough universities out there on Instagram. Yeah. God, no more of those.